This episode of Old Roommates was made possible by listeners like you and special Patreon member Allison Trey of Brooklyn, New York's own Trey Bell Spa. Thank you for your support of Old Roommates. Enjoy the episode.
Hey everyone, we are back with another episode of Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit Sleepless in Seattle from 1993. So meet us at the top of the Empire State Building and enjoy our episode.
I don't know where you were going with that,
I didn't know where I
Christina.
was going with that either.
Welcome, everyone, to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Brian.
And this is Christina.
And today we are revisiting Sleepless in Seattle, the 1993 Nora Ephron romantic comedy starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. We begin, as we always do,
Mostly do.
by talking about then. Christina, when was the first time you saw Sleepless in Seattle?
This was definitely a rental. I want to say it had probably been out for a little while. I don't think it was something that I watched when it was immediately released. I want to say it was probably one of those movies while I was watching when I was working at the video store. And said, oh yeah, let's just watch that. And I liked this movie, but I didn't quite get all the hype around this movie. I didn't think it was phenomenal. I didn't think it was great. But I liked it. I thought it was a bit slow in the middle. Certain parts of it I liked. But it was one of those movies that was like, okay, I watched it. It was good. Never really felt the need to watch it again.
Huh.
Yeah, it was fine. What about you?
So I did see this at the movie theater. So I looked it up the date. It was in June. And I was just getting back from when I worked at Disney World in 1993 for college. And I was working at Jordan's Furniture again. I got my job back. And I definitely saw this because we would go to the movies a lot, that group of Jordan's folks. And I remember loving it. Oh. I went out and bought the soundtrack.
Oh my goodness.
I really liked it. And, anything in particular, I don't know. I think the whole idea of, this idea of, someone says to Meg Ryan, you don't want to be in love, you want to be in love in a movie. And that rang true for me, certainly. I think in most of my, you always want, the fantasy. And so I think maybe I related to that. And I do remember really loving Meg Ryan and her, sort of wacky flights of, taking chances and, just being, kind of weird and all that kind of stuff. And I think being that age, I was probably 21. So... and just thinking she's just, taking chances and flying all across the country for this random thing. And I remember thinking that was fun. And I loved Rosie O'Donnell. Mm-hmm. So I think those were, the big pluses for me.
I did love Rosie O'Donnell. Mm-hmm. Yes, back then. I remember liking her.
So how about now?
So now...
when did you rewatch it?
So I rewatched it not too long ago, a few days ago.
Okay.
And I think for me... I could appreciate it a little bit better than I did before. It's a different type of movie where the main love interests don't even have, they have 2 scenes together?
2 minutes. 2 minutes, truly, total. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of love story. And I think maybe, when I watched it before... it was more was almost like, all right, can you just get to it? I think watching it this time around, knowing what to expect, knowing how it ends up, I could relax a little bit more and appreciate the separate characters a little bit better. I still felt like it was a bit slow in the middle.
Just for the listeners at home, Christina, you're making faces that are beyond. None of this sounds true. Based on your facial expressions, I think you're trying so hard to be nice. Your it looks like you're in pain just talking about your feelings right now.
Because I'm trying to verbalize. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to be helpful.
That's not helpful. I will give you more facial expressions.
Well,
what's this one say?
We can dive in. We can dive into some, I guess, specifics, if that helps.
Sure. Or I could finish my sentence.
Oh my God, Christina. I'm trying to help you.
Either way is fine.
I am trying to help you.
What I was going to say
was
I felt that the middle was still slow. It still slowed down a lot for me in the middle. Go on.
Like the middle whole, or like just part of the story of
Probably,
the middle?
How long was this movie? An hour and a half?
An hour and what? 40? Oh, God, I don't know. Say an hour and 40 minutes.
So I would say, like, the middle half hour was a lot for me.
Okay. I would ask you what jumped out at you during that time, but nothing did, apparently, since you were bored.
Nothing. It was just sort of like, all right, I feel like I've been watching this same... I don't know. I just felt it was slow in the middle.
So here's my thing. I thought the beginning was really boring. Now, I'm going to say, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the rewatch. Mm-hmm. Fine. But that beginning part is rough. I found it really rough. I found that it's like, what a weird place to start in a romantic comedy. And I don't, by the way, I love Nora Ephron. I love her. I've read almost every word she's ever written, truly. And I love her. But I think that there's something almost very anti-rom-com where it's like, these characters aren't super likable. Tom Hanks has just lost his wife. Mm-hmm. Condolences. However, then just don't go to work. Like, don't show up at work and be nasty.
Right.
Also, he's already planning to move away. It's been on his mind. So either and listen, I've not dealt with traumatic loss in my life necessarily, but you should be able to give yourself a check and be like, okay, I don't know if I'm ready to go back to the office. It's my wife is dead. Mm-hmm. But, like, the guy walks up, so one of his coworkers walks up to him, and he says, listen, Sam, how are you doing? And he's just nasty. Like, he's just, like, so dismissive and rude. It's like, he's asking you how you're doing. You just be like, I'm okay. I just need some space. I'm really sorry. Nope, that's not what he has a moment. And the guy's like, well, here, kind of goes off on him. And then the guy gives him a card to a therapist.
He said, here, maybe you should talk to my therapist.
Yeah. And Tom Hanks, or Sam, takes out a stack of cards that people have given him. And he's like flinging them on his desk.
Yeah.
And
parents
it's like,
without partners.
Partners without parents. And he's like, and then he kind of like loses his steam. And he goes, don't mind me. Oh, no, don't mind him. He's talking to himself in the second person, I guess. Don't mind him. He's just the guy who lost his wife. I'm like, oh, calm down.
Yeah.
Then don't go to work if you're going to be a baby.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I have a heart. But, like, if I'm trying to help you, don't be rude to me.
Right.
He's rude.
Yeah, he came off really, really awful.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple things going on there. One is you're not used to seeing Tom Hanks like that.
That's right.
He's usually funny guy, nice, charming, sweet, whatever. So I think coming across as angry man was really off-putting.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't like about it, honestly, they should have made him more of like sad man than angry man.
Yep.
But the other thing that bothered me was it was all about him, and he never talked about his son.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but as a parent, and I think people who aren't parents can relate to this, when something like that happens, and again, I have never dealt with that either, thank God, but But you put your children first. You make sure your child is healthy and happy and dealing. Not happy, but dealing with it. And you try to be this positive role model. And you try to be optimistic. Like, he was so damn selfish in almost the whole entire movie.
Shortly thereafter, Christina, I completely agree. That's a note I have for later about the son. There's a lot of selfishness.
Yes.
It should be called Selfish in Seattle.
Oh my gosh, I love that!
Because there really is, on the Meg Ryan side too. We'll dive into, I'm telling you, through my middle-aged lens, there's the word selfish kept popping up in my notes.
I've written this several times as well.
How about his sister and his brother-in-law? His sister's played by Rita Wilson, which is funny.
His real-life wife. Were they married at that point? I meant to look it up.
Yes, they were. And so she originally auditioned for the Rosie O'Donnell role.
Oh.
So, but she, so then Victor Garber plays his brother-in-law. I love Victor Garber.
I was going to say, you have a big thing for Victor Garber.
Oh my God, how dare you?
Well, as soon as he came up, I'm like, oh, Brian's excited
I like him. I like him a lot.
I know you
think
like
he's
him.
So good. I think he's such an underrated actor.
When were we talking about him? We were talking about him not recently, but on another episode. What else was he in? Because I know he popped up, and I was like, Brian loves this guy.
I realized my love for him in Alias, the TV show. He's so damn good. He was good
in
that.
something that we reviewed.
But anyway. But so his friends, his sister and brother-in-law are helping him, and they're bringing him to the airport, which is a really nice thing to do.
Very nice thing,
listen, I didn't bring Carl to the airport. Right. I picked him up. I did pick him up, because that's a schlep.
Yes.
But I didn't drive him. But here's the thing. They're bringing you to the airport. They've been there for you. They have dried your tears. They've been there for your kid. Like, they're your family and your friends. Been with you through it all. And the sister's saying, now listen, you might meet somebody. And, listen, just let us talk to us. And we're here to help you. And he goes, don't worry. Yeah. I'll just grow a new heart. I'm like, oh my God, you're such an asshole.
Bitter.
What? Don't meet anyone else.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm sure your marriage never had a bump. Okay, come on. I mean, that's the other problem I have with some of this stuff.
Yes.
It's like, when someone dies, I think you do romanticize the good times. Someone doesn't usually die, and you don't think all the times you hated that person. It's quite
oh my gosh, it's like the opposite of she's having a baby, right?
It is. But listen, like when my dad died, we had an awful relationship, but I didn't go,
but God. He was such a great dad.
But it's like, you do sort of think, like, you try and remember the good stuff.
Yes.
So I think there is some revisionist history in this passing for Sam, and I think that a lot of this is not based in, like, a full-fledged relationship.
Right.
I think love, of course, but it's like, and I understand, I can relate and appreciate that, but you don't have to be a dick to everyone in your life.
He was such an asshole. And it bothered me mostly that he's not even, he doesn't even consider how his son is feeling. His son just lost his mother.
Right.
He's a child. He's a young
Ripping him out of school.
Child.
Ripping him out of school. Bring him to a city they don't even know.
Oh my God. It was just bad. And did you find it odd, this is completely off topic, did you find it odd that he did not have, he has one picture of his wife in the entire house, and that's next to his son's bed. There's no wedding pictures. There's no pictures of her anywhere to be found. And the picture next to her son is her alone sitting there. Like, you would think it would be a picture of her with him.
Who knows? Maybe he took them down.
But it was weird.
I don't know. I did not notice that.
For someone who's having a hard time forgetting, I don't know. It just seemed like a weird thing to do.
I didn't notice it, but good catch. 18 months later. 18 months goes
a year and a half.
Yep. Year and a half.
A year and a half later, yep.
We begin with Meg Ryan bringing Walter, her fiancé, to meet the family.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is a little strange. No?
Yeah, because they're engaged. Well, they just say it was impulsive, right? They said it was quick.
But you get the idea that they were together for a while.
They seem completely in love with each other, to me.
They seem super compatible.
Yes, they do. They seem to really be puzzle pieces that fit perfectly into place.
Yes.
She is a bit wacky. He's a bit weird.
Yeah.
She's zany. He's dry. I think they really
I thought they were a great couple. He was so cute.
She looks out for him. He looks out for her. Whatever she wants. Really nice guy.
He was actually very romantic.
Yep.
And very, like you said, silly. Nice guy. Cute.
Yep. But because the movie tells us to, we are not supposed to root for their relationship for some reason.
I was still rooting for him.
Christine, I have a question. I'm jumping in my notes.
Yeah.
It's a would you rather.
Oh, no.
And I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't enjoy this movie as much as I
guess
thought.
So. I'm like, okay, when am I going to start
Christina, would you rather
myself?
sleep next to a guy who uses a humidifier? Mm-hmm. Or would you rather be next to a guy who has visions of his dead wife who no one else will ever compare to?
Right?
That's what this movie is trying to convince us.
That is 100%
that is the healthier.
happening.
That is the healthier choice.
Right.
That is the more heartfelt choice. It's like,
well, and I have another one.
Oh,
Would you
please.
rather?
Oh my God.
How do you like this? And to answer your question, the humidifier guy.
yeah.
But here's your would you rather. Would you rather date a woman who is attentive and cooks for you, makes an effort with your child, is totally understanding of your relationship with your ex, with your dead wife, or a woman who basically falls in love with you from one conversation on the radio and drops her life, breaks up with her fiance just to meet you without even have a conversation.
Right.
Who would you rather be with?
Well, you lost me at woman. But but no, and the whole thing is, but that's it, right? Because that woman that you're talking about, she has a weird laugh.
She has a weird laugh. That's
throw her out. Just drown her off the dock of your house.
And honestly, I got used to the laugh.
The laugh is, I'm sorry, the laugh, I didn't find it that crazy.
It was,
that is not a deal.
That's not a deal breaker.
Not a deal breaker. That is not a deal breaker.
And she's laughing at his jokes.
Not a deal breaker, ladies.
Would you rather not have someone not laugh at your jokes?
So bizarre.
It's bizarre. Like, what this movie is trying to say is forget about who you're compatible with. You should be looking at, like, the magic. Like, it's almost like love at first sight. Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
But it's really damaging through, I'm going to say middle-aged lens again, because what is her name? Annie? What Annie is really responding to is how much he loved his dead wife.
Yes.
Why does she think that is an invitation to stalk him?
Right?
Oh my God. It's so fucked up.
It is fucked up. Thank you. I feel like you're agreeing with me.
But I am. Maybe I didn't like it as much as I thought. I apologize, everyone, if I misled you. Really quick, Frances Conroy.
Oh my God. That scene, I wrote down that scene. Hilarious. I love her. I was so happy to see her. I really did not know she was in it. She's one of my all-time favorite actresses. I loved her in so much things. But so that whole bees conversation when they're talking about allergies,
laughing,
and I don't know who he was.
Yeah,
but he was hilarious. Yeah. But he's like, bees. They go on and on about I'm allergic to bees. Blah 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 blah. And then her father's like, how about a June wedding in the garden? And he just goes, I'm allergic to bees. I was dying.
Very, very funny stuff. Walter's allergies and all that business. I like that whole scene. I did think the mother was like, Annie's mother was like in the wrong movie. She seemed like
she was in like the
Abbey.
wrong decade.
Christina, oh my God, 1,000. Christina, she seemed like a Downton Abbey character. Yeah. And it's almost like I was like, it's like a woman. It's like she walks through the house with candlelight. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like she seems very anachronistic in this movie.
Well, I think it didn't help that they were having this one and only conversation. I liked the scene. Yeah. By the way, I thought it was sweet. But you're right. She seemed like she was in a totally different century. I was going to say decade, but century. But I don't think it helped that they were in an attic looking at an old dress. So they're surrounded by old stuff anyway. Yeah. But even just like her mannerisms about talking about how after they had sex, it took a while to get used to. Yeah. And then Annie says, oh, well, we've already done that. She's like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't want to hear it.
And she seems satisfied, by the way.
Yes.
Like Annie's.
She said it works like clockwork.
Like clockwork, yeah.
Like clockwork, which, I mean, isn't super passionate, but, I mean, it works. And I'm sure, something like that, clockwork seems very much like them. That's what killed me.
Thing.
They and this is one of my biggest problems with this movie is how she is a completely different person at the end of even 3/4 of the movie in than she is at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't understand where that came from. The first conversation she has is basically one of the first conversations is with her mother, and she's saying how she doesn't believe in destiny,
right?
And that everything is, fine. Destiny is something we invented because we can't stand the thought that everything is accidental.
Mm-hmm.
The other problem I had, and this is more a little bit about Meg, is she was so Sally in this. And not everywhere, but in that conversation, she's like, dieting is something we invented because it's something blah, blah, blah. Like when she talks like that, like fast thing, there was another, like the rambling. When she did the rambling, she was very Sally in this.
Also, her body language is crazy. There's a scene where she's talking to David Hyde Pierce, who is her brother.
Yes.
And I swear to God, I think she gets up from her chair at least 3 times in that scene, and she's like switching chairs, and she gets up but it's not like a nervous tick. It's like, or maybe it is a nervous tick, but it's like it's
is this
distracting.
When it's his office?
Yes.
Yeah.
She can't sit still, but she's like, it's annoying. It's like that fine line of like,
stop. Just
stop. It will push you.
Yeah.
In your love of Meg Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I want to remind everyone that's listening is that we loved When Harry Met Sally.
When Harry Met Sally
on rewatch, I think that is one of the Meg Ryan. I think it's one of the best performances by an actress in pop culture.
Amazing chemistry with her and Billy Crystal.
It's great. It's great. We loved it.
And what's funny about this one too is Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks. Like that was like the couple move, right? They were in like 4 movies together.
Yeah, Joe versus the Volcano. You've got Mail. Yeah.
This one, there were 2 Joe versus Volcanoes, right? Wasn't there 2?
What? I don't think
there was 2 of them.
It's okay, though.
Anyway, yeah. But I mean, I felt like, when I was thinking about that, I'm like, I felt like they always talked about Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks movies. Like,
yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, there's not really a lot of them.
No.
But I think that she had way more chemistry. I mean, this is a hard movie to judge that by. She had way more chemistry with Billy Crystal.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like 1,000%. Like that's who they should be talking about.
Yeah. I laughed out loud, though there's some great lines in this thing. So I loved when Tom Hanks is talking about, Dr. Marcia Fieldstone or whatever. And Jonah is like, she's a doctor. He's like, please, her first name could be Doctor.
I will tell you,
really funny.
That whole scene with him on the phone and her listening, favorite scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Really, really funny, and I thought it was really well done. I liked how she was like talking back to the radio, and
they said the same thing a couple times.
They said the same thing, well, that was cute, whatever. But there was, what did she say? It was like, I thought I wrote it down, but maybe not. It was when he was like, she said to Jonah, "Oh, get your dad," and she was like, "Oh, that's like," she was like yelling at the dog, like, that's terrible. What is that?
You wretched woman.
I could see me doing that, like, oh my God, that's so wrong.
Yeah.
She was saying a lot of things that I would have said.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really fun kind of conversation. And I liked how she didn't really want to listen to it or that show. And then she's changing the stations. And then she gets back to it. Yeah, I kind of like that. And then even in the restaurant when she stops for like a coffee and they're talking and it comes back on and like she surprises herself. She's like, oh, and like kind of surprises herself that she was interested that they came back.
Yeah.
I liked that whole scene. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, it was quite the popular radio show, which
everybody was listening.
Which everyone but his sister and brother-in-law, which they didn't even know it even happened. That was strange to me. I was surprised he didn't mention that before.
Yeah.
But then it led into the funny scene with Rita Wilson doing the retelling of An Affair to Remember.
Oh my God, that was a great scene. She did such a good job with that.
I like that a lot. And then some other funny lines. Rosie O'Donnell. So they're talking about the statistic. And I remember the statistic going around. I'm sure you do too.
Yes.
Like, it is, you have a greater chance of getting killed by a terrorist than getting married over 40. And then Meg Ryan and Rosie O'Donnell instantly start, like, that is not true. That is not true. That statistic is not true. And Rosie goes, but it feels true. Rosie O'Donnell did an interview with Vulture that we'll post in our Patreon page. But she said that she did a Bette Midler impression. She didn't really know what she was doing in this movie.
Isn't that funny?
She's like,
is this her first movie?
No, I think she did like 3. I think, is it her first? But it's like, I think her first 3 movies, one of them was this.
Okay.
So meaning it wasn't her first one. It's very close.
But it was pretty close.
Like she also did League of Their Own.
Oh.
And
wow! I feel like she was more established in League of Their Own, but I'm probably just remembering that wrong.
No, so it's like, but she didn't really quite know how to play this role, so she's like, I'm just going to do Bette Midler, and so she, like, when she's walking with Sally, like, it's, oh my God, what did I just say?
You just said Sally
with Annie. When she's talking with Annie, she's like doing like a Bette Midler walk, and it's very, very funny. So. Okay, an unintentional laugh.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry. When Annie is running... No, she turns the radio on in the kitchen, and there's a commercial for the therapy show. Mm-hmm. Do you remember this little nugget? So it's a commercial, Christina.
Yeah.
And it's like, Dr. Marcia Gladstone will discuss some of her favorite calls. Do you remember Marooned in Miami? He dumped me. Blah, blah, blah. What am I supposed to do now? Mm-hmm. Disappointed in Denver. Every time I'm about to have an orgasm, he makes a sandwich. Do you remember Sleepless in Seattle? It's like a 5-minute clip.
It was so annoying.
Clip. It's like, but Christina,
it really shouldn't have done that.
It's like minutes long.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, why did they do that? Do you think we don't remember what just happened 20 minutes ago?
They should have done one little...
line.
One line. One line.
Because that's what they did for the other 2.
Yep. It was really stupid the way they did that.
And then she cries all over again. I'm like, why? She's crying all over again? I mean, like, it's just weird. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah. It really is.
Like, what it would have been better if she, like, got the interview from the radio station and just played it over and couldn't stop crying. I mean, like why? Like, really? That commercial made no sense at all.
It made no sense at all.
Yeah.
None.
Fun fact, the voice of Disappointed in Denver is Nora Ephron.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
She's the orgasm sandwich.
I love when they do stuff like that. I really love
the orgasm sandwich woman. I didn't look up who was the voice of Dr. Marcia.
I just looked it up. It's no one I've ever heard of. Sorry, Dr. Marcia.
But she was good. I liked her voice.
She was good. I liked it. She was very believable call-in show. So a year and a half later, Sam is still so sad and so depressed.
Talking to a vision of his dead wife. Talking to her while sitting on the sofa.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
And still not concerned about Jonah.
Not at all.
Not a bit. Not a bit. Again, I said Bill Pullman is such a nice guy. He was planning this romantic trip. He had a business trip, but he wanted to plan a nice romantic trip in New York. I almost just said with Sally, but with Annie. But then he's still being silly. I mean, it was just so good. Oh, and I said, boy, he has a really nice view.
Sam.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
To pay for that view?
Oh, please.
Over the water with the fireworks.
Water in a boat? You have a little canoe tied up to your house? I mean, come on now.
Maybe it was a really nice life insurance policy.
Well, you know what? Here's what happened. One time when I was growing up, we were very poor, and we spent a winter in Cape Cod living there. Because it was dirt cheap to rent, because no one's going to Cape Cod in the dead of winter. So maybe
that's
because
we'll
remember he moved to Seattle, and every time you saw them, they were all bundled up. So maybe he got a deal. Maybe he got a deal.
Maybe. I did laugh when he was talking to Jonah. And Jonah was like, oh, look at all these letters. He's reading the letters that he's getting from the radio show spot. And he's like, do you know where Oklahoma is? And he goes, I'm not even going to think about what they're not teaching you in school. Like, that made me laugh. I could see me feeling that way. Like, okay.
I gagged when they brought up how she could peel an apple in one move of the knife.
You know what's interesting about that? Meg Ryan did not peel the apple in one smooth move. It was in two pieces. It was in two pieces. So I don't know if they're trying to like make a connection, but once again, she's not the one for you because she couldn't peel it in one.
Yeah, I think that was just so desperate of this movie.
But they should have reshot it. If they're trying to make that connection, reshoot it so it is one spiral.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I made a note of, I noticed that. I'm like, oh. Because they made a point of her doing it.
Right.
And I thought to myself, as I was watching that, they're going to reference this.
Yeah.
That was how obvious it was.
Yeah.
I will say, I am very, very thankful to this movie.
Oh.
And this is a huge, huge plus.
Oh my God, I can tell there's a lot of sincerity behind
it's
this.
100%.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Being sarcastic. All right.
This movie introduced me to one of my favorite songs.
In the wee small hours of the morning.
Yes.
Oh my God! Out of all the songs in that soundtrack, and I guessed the right one.
That was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
But I remember watching this movie and hearing the song, and I think I rewound the tape.
Yeah.
To listen to that song again.
Carly
I'm like,
Simon.
This is the most beautiful song. And it actually, I think it's originally Frank Sinatra.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the version is
The
Carly.
version is Carly Simon. Yeah. I like both versions, but I love Carly. Mm-hmm. But I will always be thankful for this movie for introducing me to that song, because I just love, love, love that song. And I had never heard it before.
Nice. I like that song a lot.
Yeah,
I love her version.
It's a beautiful song. Actually, there's a song, there's one, I think it's on the Frank Sinatra duets. And it's with another song. Oh my God, I have to look it up now. I forget which one it is.
With Carly Simon and Frank Sinatra?
I think it is.
They spliced it all.
I think. Okay.
Through the magic of audio.
Yeah. Well, all of his duets were.
While you're looking it up.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud, and I knew it was coming. I was waiting for it to happen, and I laughed all over again when Meg Ryan is in the plane, and the woman says, sitting next to her says, "Don't you hate flying?" And Meg Ryan, and it's so good. She goes, "Oh, I do." And I just told the most hideous one to the man I'm about to marry. And the woman says, "I said flying."
Oh my God.
It's so funny. Such a great little script moment. Loved it. And then another great little script moment is the girlfriend, is Sam's girlfriend.
Oh.
Because, so Jonah is just being very annoying. And in his apology, Sam says to the girlfriend, he's 8. And she says, he's good at it.
Oh, so good. So good.
Good.
I really liked Jonah's little girlfriend, Gabby Hoffman. She was cute. I just thought she was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she did it.
We've seen her in what? Was she in Uncle Buck also? Yes.
Yes.
She's the daughter in Uncle Buck.
Yes.
Yeah, she's great. And like that H and G.
Oh, yeah.
Hi and goodbye.
Oh, and then what did it show? Annie figured out what the letter said. It was
MFEO. MFEO. She's like, made for each other.
Well, I mean, that's not.
And then Becky says, it's cute. It's like a little clue.
Oh, that was hilarious.
And that's the other weird. That is a weird thing that that I think is like a sign of a good friend, but also like really. When Becky, played by Rosie O'Donnell, is just so supportive of this brain dead idea.
And she says something like that. She says like...
So she said, am I crazy? She said, is it crazy? And she said, yes. And she's like, am I doing the right thing? And she said, yes. Or no, what did she say? It was something like that, though. She's on the phone. Annie's on the phone with Becky and says, oh, is this crazy? And she says... yes. And she goes, am I crazy? And she says, no. Or something like that. But it's just basically a really good friend. Yeah. Probably maybe almost too good of a friend when your friend is making these major life decisions.
Yeah.
In
I
the
think
blink
that was good.
of an eye. Yeah. Oh, and I did laugh out loud when she goes, like, tell us where Jonah went. Tell us where Jonah went. She goes, N-Y.
Oh,
and the father goes, no way. And then Sam goes, New York.
Back on Gabby, though. I do have a middle-aged lens. When he meets her, Jonah's like, shut the door.
Oh.
So he shuts the door, and then he opens the door. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a middle-aged lens. Like, I would absolutely be keeping that door open. This girl seems way older than she seems.
Well, especially when they're brushing their teeth, and Jonah is talking about porn.
Oh, my God.
Sex movies. And how the woman digs her claws into the guy's back.
Yeah.
And screams.
Because he has cable.
Yeah. So maybe it's not porn. Maybe it's Cinemax.
Yeah.
At that point. But, okay, here in the... I wrote down another middle-age lens. And I think I already made this note, but it's about the selfishness.
Yeah.
So again, the real problem here is not that Annie wants to be in love in a movie. It's that she wants someone to love her the way Sam loves his dead wife. Selfish much? That's my note.
Well, and what's to say her fiance doesn't?
That's absolutely right. The thing with the test is she should fake her own death and see how Walter acts.
And see if he mourns for a year and a half.
Absolutely. Fake your own death, Annie, and then see how Walter. Give the guy a friggin' chance. How do we know Sam was a good husband? We don't know. What if he was a workaholic? What if he worked all the time? What if he was a bad dad? What if he wasn't a good... Yeah,
well, I'll tell you this much. After a year and a half, first of all, the timing is so off in this, with the year and a half business. After a year and a half, Jonah has a nightmare. Sam doesn't know what to do. Okay, many, many problems with this. Number one, is this the first nightmare that Jonah has had about his mother? But he comes in and he says, I don't know what to do. This is what your mom used to handle this.
Friggin' break.
So, first of all, he's never had a nightmare in a year and a half. And in his life, he's never calmed his child down.
Exactly. Doesn't that tell you how much his wife may have done?
Yeah.
And now maybe Sam's bitterness is because he has to do it all now.
Yeah.
We don't know
We
Sam.
Don't know.
We don't know. We don't even really know.
From what I do know, he's bitter and mean and rude and selfish.
Even know
this is what I know about
what
Sam.
kind of marriage they had. We're going on how much Sam is not necessarily misses her, but how angry he is that she's dead. That's really what's happening here. He's angry that she's dead. Why, Sam? Because you have to be a dad now? Because you have to be two parents now? Also, why, Jonah looks like he took a shower right before this nightmare. He is sopping wet.
Yep. He's completely soaking wet. He probably did, because God knows Sam's not keeping an eye on him. The kid hopped a plane and went to New York without even him realizing it.
If he's a good dad, when he's like, Jonah, jump into that water, guy. What if he drowns? What if he drown?
God knows he has the affinity for water.
and also, where'd you find this babysitter at a methadone clinic?
Did you see that?
She's a zombie.
Walking around like a zombie. Sam is like, Jonah.
Yeah.
She says, Jonah.
I mean, it's a laugh. I know, but it's to be funny. But it does
not a good babysitter.
Again bring up Sam's poor parenting skills.
Yes. And he gets in that big fight with Jonah, yelling at Jonah at the top of his lungs.
Yeah.
Not even understanding where Jonah's coming from.
Yeah.
Not even a minute does he think about, why does Jonah want me to date these women?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just mad because he's basically yelling at Jonah because Jonah doesn't like this woman that he's dating. Yeah. And he's bitter about that. He's like, I'm getting laid. Yeah. I'm the only one in the 90s getting laid.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at this child like he's his buddy.
Yeah.
So bad. Bad dad.
Yeah. I would question.
Good luck, Annie.
Listen, I would question even his ability to be a good husband.
Mm-hmm.
My point is more and more as we have this conversation, Christina, we don't know Sam.
We don't.
Believe it or not, that's all my notes. Should we take a little break?
Yeah, let's take
gather your notes. I do have some trivia, and we of course have our questions. We'll be back in a little bit. Hey there, it's Brian.
And Christina.
And we have some exciting news. We now have bonus content on Patreon.
If you're a fan of old roommates or simply enjoy revisiting pop culture, we would love for you to check out our page at patreon.com/oldroommates. Patrons of Old Roommates can expect exclusive content such as special episodes, movie recommendations, special videos from us, and bonus content, among other things. Your support will help us to create more content, offset publishing costs, and expand our resources to improve your listening experience.
Whether you become a patron or not, we appreciate your support. Drop us a comment on social media, give us a rating or review on your podcast app of choice, or send us a message at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and now, back to the show. And we're back, talking about Sleepless in Seattle. It's not going well.
No, it's really not. You know, Brian, I'm really, really surprised. But at the beginning of this conversation, I felt like I was going to be defending my point of view.
No, I know.
And you and I are feeling pretty similar about this. I'm kind of surprised.
Listen, as I said, I think there's a lot, as we're going through this, there's a lot of great dialogue. There's a lot of great lines.
Yes.
A lot of great scenes. But I think really the issue is these two lead characters, perhaps they are made for each other because they're both so selfish. Like, and again, I want to be clear, this is a middle-aged lens thing. Like as I said before, I liked this in 93.
Mm-hmm.
I probably saw it twice, to be honest. I'm sure I saw it on DVD a bunch of times, or on cable, like after I saw it in the movie theater. Mm-hmm. I really liked it. I love Meg Ryan. I love Tom Hanks, like, at least then.
Right.
But now it's like, I think just having experienced life, seen a lot of good relationships and bad relationships, and knowing that this one is doomed.
Yes. And just being confused as to why these characters, specifically Meg Ryan's character, she seemed very different when we meet her. Mm-hmm. And she really, really changes. And I find it hard to believe that just listening to a radio call is what changed her entire personality, relationship.
Every conversation is about this guy.
It's very strange. Yeah. Maybe it's the story itself that's the problem. I have a few notes here. I thought it was funny when Annie is doing the research on Sam. She is looking him up, and he's Sam Baldwin, so it's a pretty common name. So she's looking him up on this really old-fashioned computer, which was kind of funny. But aside from that, so she looks him up in Seattle, in this like 240 something Sam Baldwins, and then she finds out, somehow she goes around it a little bit. I think she, obituary, or she finds the obituary or something, and finds out he's from Chicago. So she puts his name into Chicago, and lo and behold, there's only 4 Sam Baldwins in the entire city of Chicago. Isn't that amazing?
I actually think that's a high number.
What? For Chicago?
Sam Baldwin? I'm going to look it up right now.
Look up Sam Baldwin. Go to anywho.com and do Chicago.
Anywho?
Well, whatever.
What's it called?
I go anywho.com. It's like, I don't know, it's old fashioned.
Sam
Baldwin in Chicago. I'm really curious what you'll come up with. So, and then again, I have lots of these Sam's more interested in himself kind of notes. I loved the dialogue when they're buying the New York ticket with Gabby Hoffman and Jonah, and he says, "Do you know how much it is to get to New York? How much money it takes to get to New York?" And she goes, "No one does." If it's and that made me laugh. And then she's saying she's going to lie about his age, and Jonah's like, "But what do you mean? Like, I don't. No one's going to buy that on 13." And she goes, "If it's in the computer, they believe anything." Which was very, very true.
Christina.
How many Sam Baldwins are there in Chicago?
It's actually even fewer, to be honest.
What?
One moment, please.
In the entire city of Chicago?
I'm talking the entire state of Illinois.
No. How can you do that from Anywho? You have to put a zip in there. Or you have to put a city.
For some reason, it didn't even give me Sam. It gave me David Baldwin.
Oh, God.
Sam.
I'm going to look at it. I don't believe you.
I'm looking up yellowbook.com. One moment. It's loading.
It shouldn't be yellow pages. It should be the white pages. I'm doing anywho.com.
All right, do it.
The other thing I thought was really funny was...
I'm just telling you, it said 50. There are 57 Baldwins in Illinois.
I'm going to look it up in a second, but I do want to tell you.
Yeah.
There was another thing when Sam was talking to somebody, maybe Jonah, yelling. But she said, "Didn't you see Fatal Attraction? It scared the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of every man in America." So that made me laugh. What else? I'm looking this up.
Okay, so the budget. I'll get into some trivia. So the budget for Sleepless in Seattle was $21 million. It made $228 million.
Oh my gosh.
I know. 2 Oscar nominations, one for screenplay and one for best song, which was Wink and a Smile by Harry Connick Jr. The Billboard, speaking of the music, the album was a number one album on the pop Billboard 100.
Nice.
Which I think I remember. It was a popular soundtrack for sure. Original considerations for Annie. Julia Roberts turned it down. Jodie Foster. Kim Basinger.
Oh my gosh.
And the most terrifying entry of all, like who thought of this one? Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Oh.
That would have been scary. That would have been scary. That would have been a thriller.
Yeah. I mean, she's already like a stalker in the other one.
Single White Female.
Yeah, I think Meg was the right choice. So.
Total amount of time on screen with...
Wait, was Sandra Bullock a choice there?
No.
I could see her doing it too.
That's what... Oh no, that wasn't too early, because Speed was, 91, 92? That would have been right on target for that.
I could see her doing it.
She would have been too young for Tom Hanks. But, and then, total screen time together is 2 minutes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I did get the results, and I'm happy to say it was not 4 Sam Baldwins. There's 5.
Ah!
I am shocked. I thought that was a much more common name.
Samuel. I love the name. I love the name Sam, though.
I guess. But what else? Oh, with the breakup with her and... why did I not put his name? Hold on. Walter.
Walter took it pretty well.
Again, great guy. You know that they're going to stay friends because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But so he said, "Oh, you should go to him or whatever."
That's right.
And she goes, "It's not him, it's me." And then his line was, after that, marriage is hard enough without bringing such low expectations into it. I love that line.
Yep, that's a good line.
I really, really, it's such a practical breakup. And then as far as that final scene...
I wonder if we have the same note on that.
Well, I have 2 notes. One is she didn't have to pay. She didn't have to pay to see, now it's like $40 or something to go up to the top of the Empire State Building. That's a little minor. There's an unattended bag. I find that very hard to believe that they're going to let an unattended bag, but that's a middle-aged lens.
This is also pre-9/11.
Yeah, it's very much a modern take on that. But, and this bothered me, that I think this is the reason why I didn't like this movie before. And it's actually one of those scenes that I think of, every once in a while. The way
she looks at him.
That she is staring at him.
Like she made a colossal mistake.
Oh
when
my
they're
God.
walking towards the elevator, she was looking at him.
And they're walking and they're staring and staring.
And then her face changes.
And I'm like, oh my God. Not only does it look like she's made a terrible mistake, but I don't want anyone looking at me like that. That's
Christina,
the most bizarre.
I cannot believe Nora Ephron was like, that's a great look.
I know.
Her eyes are bulging out of her head.
Oh my God.
And she's her face looks like she's smelling like tuna or something.
It was so bizarre.
Weird.
I was like, why did a director let this go?
Yeah.
It looks weird and creepy.
Meg Ryan can do wrong. I mean, I know she's cute and everything, but that look was so what have I done?
It was very much...
It's so weird.
It was a very, very strange look. So, Brian, what do you think? Did you like it more or less?
As I said in the beginning, I didn't hate this. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate this rewatch, but I liked it a lot less for sure. I mean, I think it's you just can't help, and it's perhaps this movie is exactly made for people like us, where it's we're not cynical, but we're real. And we're grown-ups. I mean, it's it's so dangerous and weird and problematic. These 2 lead characters are so bad that perhaps maybe they are perfect for each other.
Yeah, and I have to say, I feel the same.
Yeah.
I feel the same as I did before. I still felt like it was slow in the middle. I just didn't like it. But honestly, I might like it even a little less because I really felt like I had a better appreciation for their significant others this time around than I did before. Like before, it was more like I didn't really give them much of a thought, like Walter and I'm sorry I forget
because we were coached
right?
not to.
And this time around, I really liked them.
Yeah.
So I probably liked it even a little less. Like, why wouldn't you be with this guy?
I kept like waiting for like the bad part of his date of that girlfriend, and I was like, wait, the laugh is what's wrong with her.
Right.
That's bizarre to me. Talk about selfish
it's like a
and
terrible
weird
message
and judgy and like
terrible
rooting.
Message.
I don't think as a 49-year-old I am rooting for this couple. No. They're both a bit weird.
She already said she's not going to move to Seattle.
Oh.
When she was talking to her brother.
I have a true match game.
I also have a true match game.
Oh my god. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
Yeah, you can go ahead first.
Okay. Christina, Walter, Annie's ex. He's had quite some time to think about everything that went down. And he's quite angry about being dumped.
Oh boy.
He's now calling in to the radio show. But he's not Sleepless in Seattle. He's blank in Baltimore.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. Walter isn't Sleepless in Seattle. He's blank in Baltimore. Christina?
Bitter.
Oh my god, that's so good. Christina, I had 3 answers. First I wrote betrayed. Then I wrote bitch slapped.
Oh my gosh.
And then I wrote bullshit.
And, oh my gosh, that's so funny. I almost wrote bummed.
Bummed in Baltimore.
But I like bitter.
Bitter.
So, Brian.
Yeah.
This is actually quite funny.
Okay.
We've talked about this maybe happening at one point in time.
Yeah.
And it almost has happened.
Oh.
We have very similar match game questions.
Oh my god.
Very similar. Similar but different.
Okay.
So, my match game question is, poor Jonah.
Oh yeah.
You know, he tries so hard. But when he called into the radio station, he thought he was calling Dr. Marcia. But he was calling Dr. Ruth.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The most embarrassing part is his dad is not Sleepless in Seattle. He's blank in Seattle. Dr. Ruth.
Ding.
I think I spelled this wrong. All
right, this is super basic, but I think it was...
Isn't it funny we have very similar questions?
My very first answer.
All right.
Sexless in Seattle.
Good! Well,
Thank
it's almost a match. And I think if we were on Match Game... we would get a match.
What do you have?
Celibate in Seattle.
Oh! They would allow that.
Ding, ding,
yeah, we did it!
Oh my gosh, that's great! And they both sounded good too. Oh my gosh. So fun. So Patreon this week, we have a couple of things going on.
And I'm gonna pick my favorite Nora Ephron essays. Because I've read like everything she's ever written. So
if you haven't been to Patreon yet, you need to check it out. We have so much content on there.
Yeah.
Like so much content. Our interviews, our interview little videos. We have Outsiders stuff.
Movie recommendations.
Movie recommendations. Yeah. I mean, all kinds of stuff. This week, we have an interview with Rosie O'Donnell as
through
well.
Vulture. It's Vulture.
Let me finish the sentence. My goodness. You're so paranoid. It's an interview that we're posting from Vulture.
Yes.
That Rosie O'Donnell... Was it... When did she do it? Do you remember?
Recently.
It was a recent interview?
And it's all about Sleepless in Seattle.
Yes.
So it's a very concentrated interview.
So it's very, very good. And then we'll have that Nora Ephron essays that you like?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So, that's that for this.
Cool.
And that's it for us in this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And please give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you're interested in more Old Roommates, including special episodes, bonus content, movie recommendations, and more, visit our Patreon page at patreon.com. That's patreon.com/oldroommates. Comments and ideas can be emailed to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Old Roommates.
Thanks again for listening. This is Christina.
And this is Brian. Until next time.